You're well, and I hope that you are having a good day so far. Today we'll be doing our grade 8 English lesson on titles. So it's going to be a continuation on the previous lesson, right, on titles. And before we start, we're going to log on to aplusstudents.ca. Once we've logged on to aplusstudents.ca with our username as well as our password, and then we're going to select the subject of English Language Arts grade 8. Then we're going to scroll down up until we get to the chapter of titles. All right. So in our previous lesson, we were capitalizing titles as well as formatting titles. So now we are going to format and capitalize titles. All right. So this is a continuation once again on our previous lesson on titles. All right. So our chapter is titles. Our subject is English Language Arts. Grade 8, and the lessons that we are going to be focusing on is formatting and capitalizing titles. All right. All right. It says in titles, right? We need to, when it comes to a title, remember it says we can be titles of books, titles of movies, titles of plays, TV shows, magazines, or newspapers, right? It can even be titles of poems, titles of songs, articles, short stories, right? whenever we write a title of any of those, right, then we need to capitalize the first word, we need to capitalize the last word, and we need to capitalize every important word in between. All right. So if we look at the specific title, right? So here we have two titles. It says The Wind in the Willows, and we have James and the Giant Peach, right? So when it comes to titles, right, then titles will basically, or the specific titles that um, will then already give you an indication of what either the book will be about, what the story will be about, or a song or something will be about, right? So there are important words that we need to, for example, capitalize, and then there are words that are not important that are also, let's say, within that title, right? So then we have, let's say, for example, The Wind in the Willows. So if we look at that specific title, whether it is a book, whether it's a play, a short story, magazine, or something, right? If we look at that words, The Wind in the Willows, remember we said that the first word needs to be capitalized, the last word needs to be capitalized, and then we said every other important words in between needs to be capitalized, which means that wind is another important word that needs to be capitalized, right? So now if you look at the words in and you look at the word the, we did not capitalize those two words. And the reason why we did not capitalize those two words is because those words are not important within titles, right? So, firstly, if you look at that specific title that says The Wind in the Willows, then it will give you already an indication that, okay, so this book or this story or this article is going to be about the wind, right? And either something to do with the willows, right? So willows, it's going to be to do with the wind. So those are the two important words because it already gives us an indication of somewhat what we think the book might be about, right? So now we come to the words in and the, right? So we said that every important word needs to be capitalized. But now, words that are not capitalized, right? That means that these words are not important in titles, right? In and the is just words that basically, it's just us just completing our title, completing our sentence, or so on, right? So words that are not important within titles, the only time that we capitalize these words that I'm going to mention that are not important, it is when it is the start of the title, the first word of the title, right? Then we capitalize it. But the words that are not important in titles are articles. And articles are words like a and the, right? Those are articles. Then we have short prepositions, right? And short prepositions are also not important in titles, right? And short prepositions are words such as at, by, for, in, of, on. to, and up. Those are words that are not important within titles. Then we also have coordinating conjunctions that are also not important in titles, right? And it's words such as and, but, or. These words are not important in titles unless it is the first word within a title, right? Or the first word of the title. Then we only capitalize those words. But if it's in between or anywhere within the title, then we do not capitalize because it's not important. All right. If we look at another title, right, of a book, or it can be a play, or it can be a movie, it can be an article, right, or a short story. It says James and the Giant Peach, right? So already if we look at that title, it says James and the Giant Peach. So you already know, like, okay, so this is going to be about James and something to do with a big peach, a giant peach, right? So you don't really know what the story is actually about, but based on the title of the title either of the book, the title of the movie, the title maybe of a TV show, a play, an article, or something, right? You already have a slight idea of what you think it might be about, right? We know it's James is going to be our main character, when it comes to the story. And we know there's going to be a giant peach. Is the giant peach going to be rolling down the town, right? The giant peach, is it everybody that wants a piece of this giant peach, right? Are they going to put emphasis on the color of the peach, right? Are they going to put emphasis on the sweetness of the peach? But the important things within that title is the fact that James is our character and the giant peach, right? So now we know James, which is our first word, needs to be capitalized. Peach, which is the last word, needs to be capitalized. And the word that is important is giant because they are describing whatever, right? All right. Then look, once again, we have the word and we have the word the, right? We have the word and we have the word the. Once again, and is a coordinating conjunction. And the word and we do not capitalize because it's not important within a title. And then we have the. The is an article, right? And we do not capitalize the because it is not important within a sentence. All right. So keeping in mind, right, with the title, we capitalize the first word, capitalize the last word, and we capitalize every other important word in between. All right. So when it also comes to formatting titles, right? So when we have, for example, a title of a book, we have titles of movies, titles of plays, TV shows, magazines, or newspapers. So just an example, if you were to be given a or an activity, right, where you had to maybe write a review of either a book, of a movie, a play, a TV show, magazine, or a newspaper, right? Then remember, if you write a review on either one of those, then of course we start with our title, right? So we start with our title. And once we, for example, start with our title, then we need to, if you are either writing it or typing it, right, then you need to underline your title. So you either underline it, or that is when you are typing or writing it. But if you are just typing this review of the book, a movie, a play, a TV show, a magazine, or newspaper, then you can put it in italics. That is now if we are typing it, right? So once again, if you were maybe asked to write a review either of a book, of a movie, of a play, of a TV show, a magazine, or a newspaper, remember whenever you write the review, we always write the title, right? So we write the title of either one of those, right? And then if you are writing it down, right, with your pen and whatever, so if you're writing it down, and then it means that you are going to underline your title, right? When you are either writing it down, you're writing your review, or your review is going to be in italics. The title of this is going to be in italics if you are typing it only. Then again, also, right, if you have to, let's say you also have to write a review on a poem, you need to write a review on a song, on an article, or short story, right? So if you were to write a review on either one of these four, whether it's a poem, a song, an article, or short story, then it needs to be in quotation marks, right? And here we have an example. So your poem, the title of your poem, or the title of your song, or the title of the article, or the title of the short story needs to be in quotation marks. So imagine either writing a story, writing a poem, writing a song, article, or short story. You need to write it in quotation marks, right? Because, like I say, if you were to write a review or write your own book story or so on, then you need to basically follow the rules of either typing it, writing it, um, underlining it, or putting it in quotation marks. And that is when we are formatting our titles. But also keeping in mind whether you either have to underline or write it in italics, or you need to put it in quotation marks. The rule of titles, or how to write the title, stays the same, right? When it comes to capitalizing titles. So as much as you need to format the titles, but once you capitalize the titles, we still stick to the rule of the first word um, within a title being capitalized, the last word in the title being capitalized, and every important word in between being capitalized, right? And remember, keeping in mind that there's certain words that are not important within titles. So, as much as the first word might be, it might be capitalized like we have over here with the, right? The will be capitalized. because it is the first word of the title. Now we capitalize that. But if the were to be in the middle of that title, right, then we do not capitalize the, because the is an article. And words that are not important within titles are articles, short prepositions, coordinating conjunctions, right? Articles are words like a, an, the. Our short prepositions are words such as at, by, for, in, of, on, to, and up. And then our coordinating conjunctions are words such as and, but, or. And those words are not important within titles, so we do not capitalize those words unless either an article, a short preposition, or a coordinating conjunction is the first word. It's the first word of their title, and then only we capitalize it, right? All right, so now let's go to aplusstudents.ca, where we are going to be formatting and capitalizing titles, right? And like we said in our previous lesson, we capitalized titles and we were formatting titles. Now, in this lesson, we are going to be capitalizing and formatting titles. And before we go on to our test, right, we're just going to go over again as to what a title is, what we need to follow when it comes to titles, right? So we said within titles, we need to capitalize the first word, we capitalize the last word, and we capitalize every other word in between, right? And we said words that are not important that we do not capitalize, right, are articles, which is a and the, short prepositions, which are at, by, for, in, of, on, to, up, and coordinating conjunctions such as and, but, or. Those are words that are not important. We only capitalize those words if it is the first word of the title. Then we can also format titles, right? So when it comes to writing down or typing, right, a title of a book, a movie, a play, a TV show, magazine, or newspaper, then when you're writing it, right, you need to underline it. So either you're writing it or typing it, we underline it. But if you're only typing it, then it means that you need to put that title in italics. And then if we have a title of a poem, a title of a song, a title of an article or short story, then it needs to be in quotation marks, right? But when it comes to formatting the titles, we still need to keep the rule of Within a title, we capitalize the first word, we capitalize the last word, and we capitalize all the other words that is important, right? And words that are not important are articles, short prepositions, and coordinating conjunctions. All right. So I think we should go to our test, right? We can go to our test, and that is where we can format and capitalize our titles. All right, let's go to our test. It says, which sentence is correct? Is it option one, Tracy read the newspaper and it's quotation marks, the post and mail at the beach? Or is it option two, Tracy read the newspaper, the post and mail at the beach? Which option is correct? Which sentence is correct when it comes to our specific title? All right, so if we were to choose the correct title of a newspaper, right, and then we will go with option two, because remember we said a newspaper is either underlined or it is written in italics or just written without an underline. So option two is correct. So now we need to say which sentence is correct. It says they read part of the magazine. So a magazine, Oceans of the Mind at the library, option one. Or option two, they read part of the magazine, Oceans of the Mind, which is in quotation marks, at the library. Which title is correct? Option one for magazine or option two? All right, and if we were to choose the correct sentence, right, that is the magazine or the title of a magazine, we would go with option one, which is They Read Part of the Magazine, Oceans of the Mind. A magazine is not written in quotation marks. All right, the next one says the girl put the book, The Blue Cat of Castle Town on the shelf. Or is it option two where we say the girl put the book, the cat, the blue cat of Castle Town, quotation marks on the shelf? Which one is correct? So the title of a book, is it written in quotation marks option two or not in quotation marks option one? All right. And then if we were to look at the title of the book, then we would go with option one. It says, My cousin Julie wanted to hear the song, quotation marks, black or white. Or option two, my cousin Julie wanted to hear the song, black or white, without quotation marks. All right. And if we were to choose the correct song title, it will be the first option because we said songs or titles of songs need to be written in quotation marks, right? So we go with option one. All right, so the next one says, which sentence is correct? It says, I just heard the poem, Casey at the bat. Or is it, which is inverted commas, or is it option two, I just heard the poem, Casey at the bat. No inverted commas. Sometimes the way the word is, the name is spelled, It can either be Cassie or it can be Casey. All right, so if we were to choose the correct poem, right, which is Casey and the Bat, then we would go with option one because poems are written with quotation marks. All right, so it says Gwen invited her friends to go and see the play All for Me. That is option one. Or option two, where we say Gwen invited her friend to go and see the play All for Me in quotation marks. All right, so if we were to choose the correct option for the play, right, then we will go with option one. No inverted commas, because a play or the title of the play is not written in inverted commas. The title of the play is either written, it's you either underline it or you write it in italics, right, or not in italics like we see it over there. All right, so which sentence is correct? It says Mrs. Vance or Vance bought Pam the movie The Hunt for the Red October. Or is it the second option? Right? Look at the word October. In option one, October is written with a capital letter. In option two, October is not written in a capital letter. So which option is correct? Keeping in mind the rules of writing a title, where we said the first word of a title needs to be capitalized, the last word of a title needs to be capitalized, and every other important word in between needs to be capitalized when it comes to a title. All right. And if we were to choose the correct title of the movie, right, then we will go with option one, right? Because October needs to be capitalized. Option two, October is not capitalized. All right. And the next one says, Sing anything but the song. So sing anything but the song, 10 little monkeys jumping on the bed. Or is it option two, sing anything but the song, in inverted commas, 10 little monkeys jumping on the bed? Which option is correct? So the title of a song, is the title of a song in inverted commas or not in inverted commas? All right, then if we were to choose the correct option, we would go with option two, right? Because a title of a song needs to be written in inverted commas. So we'll go with sing anything but the song, 10 little monkeys jumping on the bed, right? So option two is correct. All right, let's do two more, then we're done. We need to say which sentence is correct. Is it option one that says the man searched for the newspaper New York Law Journal, which is option one, or option two, it's also New York Law Journal, but option two, journal is written with a lowercase. Journal is not written with a capital letter. So, which option is correct? And once again, keeping in mind that the rule of writing a title, you need to capitalize the first word, capitalize the last word, and you need to capitalize every other important word in between. So, which title of the newspaper is correct? New York Law Journal. Option one or option two? All right, and if we were to choose the correct title of a newspaper, we'd go with option one, right? Because option two is not the last word is not capitalized. All right, we're going to do one more. It says Mrs. Wilkinson finished reading the book Going to School in India. Or option two, also going to school in India, but option one, school is written in a lowercase, and option two, school is written with a capital letter. And once again, keeping in mind our first word needs to be capitalized, our last word needs to be capitalized, and every other important word in between needs to be capitalized, which means that we will go with option two, right? Because the important words is going, school, India, because it will tell us, okay, so this title of the book will be about going to school in India. It's to do with the school, it's to do with the country, India also, right? And the fact that you're going, right? So we'll go with option two. All right, so this is now the end of our lesson on titles, right? We capitalized titles and we were formatting titles. When we capitalize titles, the first word, the last word, and every important word in between needs to be capitalized. Words that are not important that we do not capitalize unless it is the first word of a title are articles, prepositions, as well as conjunctions. Right? All right, so that is now the end of our lesson on titles. Thank you very much, grade 8s, for joining the class, and you should have a good evening further. Goodbye.